This area is in the pothole country of Iowa. These weren't permanent lakes, but they were wet most of the year and were very, very shallow. So our farm, our whole 80 acres here, is all part of that old lake bottom. So this whole farm, not entirely, but at different times in its history, has been totally underwater. We're the bottom of about 4 sections that drain into this farm. We moved this into CRP primarily because the history of the farm has been that about every 4 or 5 years you'd get one of those 4 or 5 inch rains and it would drown out. These periods of losing that bottom ground, which can be from 15 to 30 acres, and so it become really uneconomical to try and farm this thing. And I just inquired at the local FSA office about CRP, and they said, oh, we've got a wetlands program, and I'll bet your farm would qualify. And they were right, it did qualify. We seeded this back to nature, if you will. The center of the low spot of the area was seeded more with forbs and some sedges and the kinds of grass that you would find in really something that would be wet occasionally during the year. The uplands that are around it have all just flourished with the native grasses that we put into it. The DNR approached us after the fact, after we had this in CRP, because we had 41 acres in. They contacted us and says because you had 41 acres or over 40 acres, you qualify for their IHAP program, a habitat that the DNR of Iowa is putting into place to promote hunting, to give some other lands for hunting and to promote the biology of the area from wildlife and everything else that goes along with that whole program. And so we contracted with the Iowa DNR then to manage this. When you put it into CRP, it doesn't mean you put it into CRP and walk away from it. You have to continue to manage this, and you have to treat it like Mother Nature treated it, in that about every 3 or 4 years it would burn, and it needs that for the health of the prairie grass. And so the DNR now takes care of all of that. It's on their websites as areas to hunt. We have, by the way, noticed a huge increase in pheasant population, coyote populations. If you walk out in there during the summer and just stop for a little bit, you can hear just a constant chorus of birds and waterfowl, everything else that's out in there. So it really has been very successful. You know, we got kind of caught up in it, and then all of a sudden it was really, really cool to see pheasants return, to see the wildlife return. Last winter I was down in there and I could see some dog tracks, and I'm thinking, boy, we've had hunters out here hunting, and then I got to look at it, there really weren't any human footprints. They were all dog prints, and they were coyotes and fox, I'm sure. From that standpoint, it really makes you feel good that you're doing something for the environment. This was really not a great piece of ground, and to be able to take this back to a wetland setting more like it originally was really is kind of a good feeling. If you're really interested in CRP, get to know your FSA people and the NRCS people. They have provided all the help that we need, all the directions, suggestions. It really, really makes it quite easy. It's a way to return some income off of that piece of property and yet do something for the environment, do something for the wildlife.